So, if you remember the last video, I have discussed how to do police lights. Well, fairly recently, I have found a new method to work the lights. Let me show you. Now, because I'm on a time crunch, I really can't show off how to pull this off, but I will show what I have found. I would also like to point out it is very hot in here, so my speech is going to be off. Hence why I left the fan on in this recording. That's why I say I'm on a time crunch, because I don't want to go through another heat stroke. In the light settings, you will notice intensity and bounce intensity. This determines how bright the light can actually get. So, knowing that this is adjustable, we can now set this to 0 and use the animator to set frames while the intensity is adjusted, giving it the flashing effect without having to move it on the y-axis to -999. So instead, you can just set the position and scale to 0. A lot easier. But to extend this video, I also want to discuss something else that I have recently discovered. It's kinda similar to something I have discussed before, but this time ever so slightly different. Okay, I give in. It's too hot for this shit. Time for fans. So the other thing I have discovered was in relation to sprite materials. What could they actually be applied to? Well, here's that section of the video. Previously, I have discussed on how to work on sprite materials and how to put them on your custom car. However, that was just a sprite, like a flat image. I don't know how else to say it. But with the newest or the remastered King Kahuka car, I have discovered you could put sprite materials on 3D models. Let's see how that works. For the sake of this video, I will be trying this out with Basil, mostly because this model requires transparent textures. The only one I can think of at the same time. I know there is a model of the actual helmet that doesn't require this, but to fit the low poly theme with the minifigure that I have, I figured this would be the best solution right here. So I have reworked the model, shrunk it down a little bit, and the textures were, why is it brighter than the rest? That threw me off for a loop, so I had to fix that. And that's the original texture too, it's not edited, it stayed like that. So I'm glad I made that part darker. And so now comes the fun Unity bits. So, using this bat helmet texture, first what you want to do is go to texture type and make that sprite 2D and UI. For the advanced, check off alpha is transparency and hit apply. And unlike the previous video, instead of dropping it onto the scene, drop it onto the model itself. And at the moment it's going to look like this. It's currently not transparent, but that is because of what material the model is set at. Once the model is selected, under the mesh render where the materials are, swap from standard to sprites, diffuse, and you will notice that the helmet itself is transparent. I mean, we got the one part right, but the rest of the model has a transparent feel to it. Luckily, there's a fix to that. What I have done so the helmet isn't transparent is I've taken the helmet model itself and got rid of the billboard sides. That way it looks just more like a standard helmet, and then exported that. Once I got done with that, I just placed it under the other helmet mesh, but I had to make a copy of the texture so it wasn't a sprite texture that I used for the other helmet. So now you won't be able to see through the helmet. So in short, 2 versions of the textures, 2 versions of the materials, and 2 versions of the helmet model. Otherwise, you'll be looking at a ghost. And that's pretty much it for this video.